I am about to do a little series of a game called City Skylines. Now, what I have got planned to do is a small country town. Hopefully I don't get too big, because when you get to a big city it kind of gets to the point where you almost want to just, I don't know exactly how you say it, but you almost lose your mind with it, because so many things are going on at one time, and you basically have to deal with the whole thing all in one hit. Okay, now, as you can see, I've got Dust Bowl, which is the name of the map. I've got just for while I'm doing these episodes of City Skyline, I've got unlimited money switched on, so so I can do things that I need to do to show to you guys how to use the system all up. But I am showing you the console version from PS4. There is a City Skylines on PC, which a lot of people have streamed, whereas with me, I think I'm probably not the first person to do City Skylines on PS4, but I probably would be the first person to do a City Skylines on PS4 that's going to be basically a country town all the way through it. Although in areas there might be some high-rise, I'm unsure about that at the moment. With what I'm going to do also, this may sound crazy, but the area where I am right now, that is going to be the smallest area of the little town that I'm going to do. The next section of the map, which I will open up probably next episode, or the third episode, depending on how I go and depending on how I feel. That section there, the first section which we are now going to do, is going to have a bus service. It's going to have school, it's going to have, all the basic things that a city needs, even though it's going to be a small country town. My advice to you is, if you do this the way I am going to do it, whatever you do not, if you have it rolling in the way of not paused, don't connect your road to your highway yet. The reason being is because if you do that, you're going to have vehicles coming in left, right and centre, and things are going to go haywire. If you want to connect it straight out, do so. It's all yours. You can do whatever you want. But me, I either pause the game or I don't connect it to the highway yet. Whereas for this, I'm going to pause the game, so let's pause the game. Now, with the game being paused, that means there's no vehicles going to come in when I make the roads and put the roads laid down. Because the roads are going to be small roads, you cannot afford to have that happen to you, because they're only one way in either way, and the more cars that get in there, I mean, I had this happen to me once before. It actually got to the point where it absolutely was haywire at the entrance, just coming off the highway to the entrance to the town. It actually got to the point where I actually had to leave the game completely, because this one area of this little town that I am about, or I had going, didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to work out, because it was always a massive bottleneck. There is no way I could fix that problem at all. So I sat down and watched a few episodes on YouTube of people playing City Skyline, and they showed some ideas on how to get through bottlenecks like that. So hopefully I remember how to do them. Now let's get started. Number one, you're going to want to decide on where you're going to want to lay your road down. Me, what I do when I do it is I lay the road down along the checkered line. The reason, because that mark is there to say you can't go any further on that area. And I use that to my advantage, and the reason why I use it to my advantage is because you can straighten out the road all the way around. But as you can see, we have a river on the other side here, which basically splits that line, because it's a big square that you've got. On one side of the river, what I will do eventually when I get around to doing that is that area there will be an industrial area. Okay, it's always a good idea to put an industrial area away from the town. For the reason is this: if you put an industrial area in the centre of the town, everyone's going to fall sick and get ill, very, very ill, and a lot of people will die. And then, you know, in real life, you'll probably be getting sued. But with it being like this, if you put it away from the city as far as possible, there is no chance on any of that happening, because that does happen in the game. People do fall sick. Right, now, because of the way the map is, I will lay down the road from this area here. So let's start. Okay, sections of road are all these, which as you can see are blocked off. You also now do have oh, bummer. Alright, Bobby. Now, getting back to what I was saying, we have, oh, don't worry about all that, guys, because it's just one of my friends leaving the party that I've got going while I stream. Now, getting back to what we're talking about, it's time now to lay the road. As you can see also, before I do lay down road, you do have in the way of your road network, as you get further down, and this came in just recently on console. I don't know how long it's been in on computer, because this is also on PC. You've got a 2-lane tollway, a 4-lane one-way tollway or toll booth, a 2-way large toll booth, and a 1-way large toll booth. In other words, they're for the highway. If you use it where you have money on, where you have a limited amount of money, but I'm being a bit on the naughty side because I'm using unlimited cash. The bonus with the tollway is that tollway, if you put it down in on the highway, that tollway will give you money for your city to run your city and to bring everything into line for you. Now, let's lay the road down. Small road, obviously. Okay, now, as you can see, with this, I've got the highway entrance and exit here. Okay, now because I live in Australia, I've got left hand on the left hand side of the road, and left hand side of the road coming into the city, left hand side of the road going out of the city. Blah blah blah. So let's go. Lay the road down to here. Now, as you can probably see, that go red. That means to say, if you have a look, it says out of city limits. That means to say you cannot go any further. Right? Now, I know what people are thinking. You're probably thinking, well, duh. The only reason why I said that like that is because probably kids are going to be watching this as well. So, if you know what I mean, that's one of the reasons why I said what I said. The only reason why I said kids is because I'm talking children about the age of 5 to 6 to under parent supervision, by the way, to whatever up until the time, like up until 12-year-old, you know, and above. But they probably wouldn't understand about the area where it's the cut-off area with that white line. So I've laid the road down to there. Now what I do is I take the road up along this cutaway area too, by the way. I go as far as I can up. Now I only do it like this because I know how I need it done. But there is a tricky area on this map which is going to really confuse the living daylights out of me. I've done it before. And I did beat it at one stage, and it worked out pretty well, but it was confusing. Go down alongside to there. Now there's the cut-off area that I'm talking about, in the way of the river. Okay, so I can only lay the road down to here. Now what I do also here is I do this. I go to there at an angle, lay the road down along here. Now, get to there, lay the road down, go all the way down through here to this area here, lay more road down through here, follow the coastline as much as I possibly can without falling into the water, which in some cases would probably be kind of funny. As you can probably see, there's a bit of a raise, or it's a bridge, oh, okay, there's a bridge, wakey. But I'll lay the road down again to there. Now, as you can see, the cut-off area there, that means to say, as I said, you can't go any further than that. So, what I do now is I go all the way up to here, I stop there, and go down to, because this has got raises in it in certain areas, like the area where I am now, that's going to be a bit of a task in certain places. That's the reason why I do it this way. That's the reason why I go around the edge to the areas where there's the dotted lines, which is your cut-off area. Now, if you also have a look and notice, the highway has the cut-off lines go straight through it as well. And if you have a look on the other side of the highway, there's an open area there for in the way of grass and all that sort of stuff, which you can put more houses down and all that sort of good stuff. There are DLCs to the game on PS4, which come in very handy, and I do have all of them. The latest one was Campus, which is a university expansion pack. There are all of the expansion packs that we've got here on PC on PS4 are also available on PC. Now, there and then, bada boom. Right, that's the road along the outside edge of the map. With that being done, now we can decide on what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. As you can probably see, I've got it laid out down through this area here. I haven't actually had it go down there like I have come up through here past the highway. That I will do, but that area there is going to be a specialist area. That's the reason why I've left that blank. But I'm not too sure what I'm going to put in there just yet. But all my emergency vehicles areas are going to be central here in the city, where the roads are laid down, or when the roads are laid down. That's going to be the central area for my fire trucks, my ambulance, my hospitals, police station, police cars, fire stations. Sorry, fire stations and all that sort of stuff. Now that I've laid the road down to the point where it is, now I've got to check out areas where I can lay more road down to put down houses, in the way of zoning for houses, zonings for shops. As I said, police, firefighters, ambulance, and schools. But with me, what I've got planned for this when I do it is the rubbish dump is going to be as far away from the city as possible. It's going to be on that island on the other side, the island that I was telling you about that I'm going to use for the industrial area. That is where the rubbish dump's going to be. But I've got to work out in that area there where I am going to put it exactly. So that's going to be the task for that area later. Now, getting back to doing what I was doing and talking about what I was talking about, with me sometimes, with the way I was brought up, where I was brought up here in Australia, in Sydney, we had suburbs like every country does have a suburb. For example, in Sydney, where I live, there's a suburb called Seven Hills. That's where I was brought up. Which is in the western suburbs. I was brought up in the western suburbs around Sydney. I don't know whether any of the people who are going to see this watch it or know the suburbs. Sorry. it's central area around the place is Seven Hills, Toongabbie, Blacktown area. You know, that's 3 suburbs in that one area, and I was brought up in the Seven Hills, Toongabbie area. So that's what I'm going to try and duplicate here. I'm going to try and make a suburb up like that. So let's get started. Now, if you have a look with the way the road's been laid, it's got area, these little dots here, as you can probably see. You're central on that with your dot. That means that you're going to be able to do certain areas up in that section of road. Now, if I wanted to, I could take that all the way up, but I'm not going to do that, because what I want to do is, I want to do a little block of houses and what have you. Okay, so let's get started with that. Now, I've got it up here, right, to there, okay. Go straight across to here. Make sure, at all costs, if you want to try and make a good little suburb, try to make sure that I mean, a lot of people don't like doing this, but I've tried to keep that, as you can probably see, I've tried to keep that as straight as possible. Alright, and the reason I've put it as a little square is because that there is going to be a central area to several houses. There's going to be a few others off that, and with that, with the way I laid that out, what I'm going to do is with that, I'm going to work out a bus route when it comes time to get the bus routes in. So let's go and do some more. And as I said, I do have all the DLCs to the game, including Campus. I'm kind of hoping I can figure out how to use Campus fairly soon, because it looks pretty good. I myself never went to university, but I did go to college in the way of TAFE. And I did study. And what I studied was in the trucking industry, logistics, for, like, if I was to work at, say, a mail area or something like that. That's sort of job. That's what I was studying for. Now, as you can probably see, I've staggered it, and the reason why I've staggered it is because a lot of areas in the way of suburbs, they're not all straight in the way of some of the streets. The only reason why I'm doing it like this is because, as I said earlier, what I'm going to be able to do, or what I want to try and do, is I want to try and work a bus route into it. Now, working a bus route in does tend to help with your city that you are in the middle of doing. So let's get back to work. Now, before anything else, what I am going to do after I've done this section, I am going to go and get the chance to try and lay down pipes. Now, the reason why I say pipes is plumbing for houses and all that. So that's what else you really need to have as well, is plumbing for houses and plumbing for shops and whatnot. That's one of the most important things you need in a city, as any, well, fruitcake would know. Now, getting down to the plumbing. Let's stop building roads for a little bit. Now, as you can see, what I've done here is I've had this go all the way around, as I said, and I'm going to link all here with the plumbing. So let's go to plumbing and electricity. Let's go to the plumbing. There will be times where that is that water tower. Now, the water towers are used to pump water into areas where the water might not make it. And the only problem is with that, the water tower has got no choice but to have electricity run to it, because it's a pump. It's not a water tower as people think. It's got a pumping system in it which pumps the water through into areas where it needs it most. For example, if you have a city that is sort of like running low with water and they are begging for a sewer system, or if their sewer systems are the sewer system's totally, you know, it doesn't want to know work anymore. It's sort of become, well, oh, great, okay. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Ow. Let's lay down pipes, shall we? Let's see. Oh yeah, now also, before I do lay down pipes, if you have a look on the right, off to the right down here, that's an industrial area. You know, to get to that, you need 1,400 people in your city. Now, that'll be a while off for me. I will be finishing this video in roughly 9 minutes, so I'll try and get the plumbing up and running before too long, because I really want to get the plumbing done. Hopefully by the time you guys see the next video, I will have at least half the city done, and I'll be able to point out what I've done in the way of the city for you. Okay? So let's get started. Now, on the odd occasion it is good to double up on some stuff, but not all the time. Zoom out. Go as far as you can with your pipes, no matter what, because you're going to need pipes in every single area you can think of in your city, no matter what. Because if you have one area that doesn't have piping, then that one area is not going to have plumbing. As you can see, I'm going around the edge to where the houses will be zoned. Nothing's been zoned as of yet. Hopefully before the end of this episode I will zone that one section, I'm kind of hoping. I'm almost there. Now that's all connected. When you hear that boom, that means it's connected. Okay, so that's all, one area is done. Now start from here. Also guys, please leave likes and comments for me, so if you want to learn more about the game, by all means, as I said, leave likes and comments because I need them to continue on. Anything you want to know about the game, just ask. It's a reasonably good game, but it can get, how do I say, as I said, frustrating at times. The reason why I say frustrating at times is because there will be times where there will be a time where you will get your city so big, you will not know what to do. It will get to the point where your city is that big, you actually have buildings falling, well, not exactly falling down, but you'll see derelict buildings that have got to be demolished. There, all plumbing is laid out and ready to go. Now that I've done that, now I'm going to concentrate on this little area here for houses. I might put half of the thing houses and the other half shops, just to show you basically on what you've got to do. So let's get down to the zoning. Now, if you have a look, when I go to zoning, which is this here, right, before I do continue with that, this is your services, like your utilities, like your garbage, your water, and your power. This one here is your education and also your health care system. This one here is your fire department and police department. This one here is your transport, like your buses, your trams, your trains, what have you. Then you've got your leisure area here, which is like for people who are coming in for having holidays and whatnot. This one here is your unique buildings that will get unlocked as you go along. This one here, monuments, which will get unlocked, providing you reach 90,000 people in your city. Now, getting that high is going to be one task that you are going to have trouble doing. I will probably end up getting that high. I hope so, but I also hope not. Then you've got this one here, which is landscaping to help you with your city. Now, as I said, we're going to do zoning. Let's do the zoning. First of all, we'll put the houses down. As you can see, there are areas here which are not zoned at all. Now, as you can see straight through it. If I do this and go bang, you'll see that is green now. That means to say there's going to be houses put there. Okay, there's going to be houses there, right? Now we've got 3 other areas that are not zoned. So what I want now is I'm going to put in one of those areas, I'm going to put shops, right? As I said, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to duplicate an area which I grew up in. Has anyone ever grown up in a city and right on the corner of their street they've had a corner store? Like right on the corner of on the corner of a main street. Because that is what happened. That is what was with me. I grew up in an area where there was a main road and there was 2 turn-off streets opposite each other, and between those two turn-off streets there was a shop, like a little shopping complex. It's still there today. And all the shops are still open today. Directly opposite those shops there's a school, and then further down there's other shops, like there's houses and that have been zoned, like, the place has been zoned for houses many years ago, and then further down you've got more shops, and then there's the railway station off in the distance. Anyhow, we'll get to that in another episode. But yeah, now I'm going to zone shop there, or a shopping complex area there, and a shopping complex area there. There. I've also going to zone a shopping area for what section? Just here. I'll put a little shopping area there. Now, the reason for that is I want a bigger area for houses. Okay, I've got a little shopping area here, and now this area here I could put shops here, but I'm not going to. The reason being is I want to have houses in that section there and that section there. Now, with that being done, if I unpause the game now, within a matter of minutes I'll actually do that, and I will also, before I forget, link the streets to the city, or the up and coming city. Okay, so now we have it where people can go in and out if they ever feel up to it. The game is now unpaused. Now, before I do go, as I said, please leave likes and comments, and also in the way of your comments, please leave the comments in what you want to have done in the city. The reason for that is I need as much advice as I can get. There will be times, every episode things will change over time. Like when I'm not streaming, I will work on the city at that time, over that period of time, and I will show you what I've done. And then as I get around to it, I'll explain to you what I've done in the way of the city, and then I'll show you more of what can be done in it. Hopefully fairly soon I'll be able to put down a post office and all that sort of stuff. I've got general stores down and all that. Anyhow, guys, I'm going to call it there. I shall see you later. Please leave likes and comments, and let me know what you want done in the way of the city, because I am really itching to get this city done and dusted. The big thing is there are 9 squares that have got to be done, as I said to you. So this could be a very, very big episode, a very, very big series of City Skyline. Okay, guys. So as I said, leave likes and comments, and tell me what you want to see in the city and where you want things to be done. Here we go. Before I do go, very quickly, we are now having people move in. We are having buildings built. We have got one problem, which is no electricity to certain areas. So anyhow, guys, I've got to go, and then what I will do is I will keep you informed with the City Skylines country town. Okay? Catch you later. And don't forget, play nice.